interesting experience. A couple of days ago, we had one of the girls from the office, Whitney, come in, and they wanted to take some pictures for the Christmas party, and so we showed her how to seal bags. And we got her to fold the bag and run it through the sealer, and she looked at me and she says, "Is this all you do?" And I wasn't quite sure how to take that, but I think that's a pretty good compliment, because the system works so much better now than it did 3 years ago that, yeah, that's all I do. I don't have to babysit the bag turner. We don't have to watch those bags and make sure they don't get ripped or bumped out of position so easily. And so it's made the job easier.
Well, and one thing that I am certain of, maybe that's all you have to do, but that's not all you're doing, because up in your mind you're thinking, okay, now what can I do to improve this?
We've been taught since I started working for Redmond that we always want to try to be as efficient as possible. But we noticed years ago that the robot itself was wasting motion. It would always have to reach all the way to the top of the pallet before stacking a bag, even if it was stacking the bottom layer. And so we knew there was a lot of wasted motion associated with that, but we didn't know what to do about it.
So, and your background is robot programming, right?
No, not anywhere close. I've worked for the company for 20 years, and most of that has been heavy equipment operator. I've worked in the warehouse for at least 6 years now. I'm an insufferable tinkerer to start with. I like to understand how things work. And I made it a goal a couple of years ago to start sifting through the robot program and understand how it works. And I honestly just stumbled upon the idea of, hey, I finally understand where the robot is choosing to go all the way up that high all the time. And I figured out a way that we could add 3 lines of code to the program and reduce that motion. We couldn't ever make the robot faster, but we could change the path that the arm takes each time it stacks a bag.
So how long did it take you to learn the programming language?
Oh, I haven't. I've only learned parts of it. It's an ongoing process for me. I'm not a fast learner, but once I've got it, I've got it.
Well, that is pretty amazing to me, Dwayne, because from a company aspect, so here we have a guy that is sealing the bags right next to where the robot is. And you're looking at it going, I see some inefficiencies. And you're going, man, it'd be so great if we could just add some programming to take out the inefficiencies that I see. And then you take and go, you know what, I think I can, you started studying what you were seeing in the code, right, when you were watching.
Exactly.
And then you're trying to understand what it all meant. Then you started going, man, where can I fit in some code to make these changes, and how can I do this? And the end result is, for the last several months, that you was able to add some lines of code and to take out the inefficiencies in that robot.
And there may be additional improvements that we could make in the future.
What I really liked, Dwayne, about what you did with that is you didn't wait for somebody else. You thought, you know what, it's going to cost too much to bring in a programmer. I think I could learn enough of this programming that I could make a change. Your team was open enough to let you tinker and try it. You know, because we've looked at the data together. That on just a typical day, it looks like you're getting about 6 more pallets than you were prior.
6 more, sometimes 10 more.
And it depends on how far back you go, because if you go back even a couple years, now you've got multiple improvements that you've made. So multiple things that you've saw, multiple improvements, where you're actually getting, compared to 2013, comparing the data from the change that you made, we're getting 16 pallets more than we were prior to that.
If you look at the changes overall, yes, but those aren't all changes that I made. Those are changes that have been made by various team members over the.
Oh, sure, yeah, no.
Uh,
Well, and I would
3
even
years.
say though, you did this one we talked about with the programming and robot.
Mhm.
You probably had input from others even as they walked by saying, you know what, I see this or I see that, or you said, or encouragement. Because
Oh, yeah.
so much of what we do is never just us, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, sure, certainly it would be a
Uh,
team effort from 2013 to the changes we see now. Right, and when you look at the system, you're looking at, okay, the bagging system, but when you break it down, that's a whole bunch of little processes within that one process. And you start looking at, okay, where can I save time on this little process? And that's what you've done over the years,
We
right?
have. And every little incremental change has contributed to what now appears to be a very significant change in our production capability.
So,
There's all kinds of different things we could possibly do to improve the workflow, reduce the downtime associated with maybe the system being interrupted by a forklift or something like that. I was going to say one thing to everybody in the company. If you're making changes that improve even the process by even a few seconds, don't get frustrated because it's only a few seconds. It's cumulative, it adds up, and those changes make a big difference.
it does. Well, thank you, Dwayne.
Hard out, I stumbled over my words pretty bad.
You're fine.